Welcome back. We have a bit of housekeeping for you before we move on. The cricket match between West Indies and India will be telecast on CBC TV 8 after all, and not on MCTV channel 209 as previously advertised. So those of you who perhaps didn't have MCTV and were thinking you're going to miss Sawan scoring a brilliant 100 today, you can see it on channel 108 or TV 8. So fair enough. Now we're going to continue a discussion which we started last week on manufacturing, and we will wither manufacturing. And joining us this morning we have Dr. Paul Pounder and Roseanne Mosley, and she's an entrepreneur. Recently opened a garment factory and apparently it's doing pretty well. We will tell you about that and a bit more, but let's start off first with Dr. Pounder. The question we posed to begin last week, and we're posing it again, is the weather manufacturing. Where does it stand? Should we give it up? Roseanne notwithstanding, but from your views.
No, the future of manufacturing is still alive and well. There are several companies that exist in the country that make a significant contribution to the gross domestic product of the manufacturing sector of the country, the national economy. It employs still quite a bit of people. Approximately about 10,000 or more persons are employed in manufacturing, and it makes a contribution of about $1 billion a year to the economy. In addition to that, there are also other multiplying factors that you can take into consideration. So for every person employed in manufacturing, they say that approximately 1.4 times persons are employed in the service sector in the US, and about 4 times as many persons are employed in Trinidad. So the manufacturing sector, though it only employs about 10,000, the supporting employment is quite high as well.
What are indicators that your manufacturing sector is doing well or not doing as well as it could be? What are those indicators? What should we look for?
Well, in this recession, it's quite hard to identify how well the manufacturing sector is doing, because almost everything, all businesses, service providers as well, are on the decline as well. So maybe the fact that some of them are still in existence after a year and a half of recessionary times will show that they have kind of tweaked and made their organizations a lot leaner. Okay, and this will suggest that when things get brighter, that they too will be able to boom during the brighter times as well.
Indeed, we have entrepreneurs who are continuing to spring up and do well at the high end, like Ms. Mosley. So it cannot be that bad if we are still finding new avenues for entrepreneurship. Some would say that.
No, I mean, as I go around the island and I do diagnostics and audits of existing manufacturing companies, persons have been putting things in place to try to see them through these hard times. I mean, the majority of companies complain about the issues of cash flow and so on, but there are steps that are being taken to facilitate them in terms of helping them to market their products, reach international and regional markets as well, technical assistance to help retrain and retool staff members within the manufacturing plant. So things are happening to keep them sustainable during this time.
Okay, so let's hear from the lady then. Ms. Mosley, tell us about what it was like, you getting your factory set up, and why you decided to do it in this time where that seemed to have been, you know, becoming less of a popular option.
Well, my factory, I really started the factory because there was a need for a garment manufacturing facility that does not concentrate on numbers as such, but quality.
Important.
Quality. And most persons would tell you, if you go to a garment manufacturer and you are not doing a certain amount of quantities, they basically pay you no mind. So our business came into existence because there was a need for consistency, because sometimes you can't always get the consistency that you need, but we concentrate mainly on quality rather than quantity.
Is this something you always wanted to do?
Yes. I've worked in the industry for about 12 years with various companies, and then I got the opportunity to actually own the manufacturing facility I was working with. So I took the opportunity, and along with the help of BIM Ventures, Dr. Basil Springer, they were very helpful and very, they played a big part in helping me to actually buy over the facility, and now it is my company.
Roseanne, it's fascinating because it seems like you started a small business to help small businesses. Because like you said, if you're small, if you don't have the large numbers, a lot of manufacturers do not pay you any mind. But what is your intention? Where do you go from here? Are you going to continue to maintain what they sometimes call a boutique sort of operation, or are you planning to expand as time goes?
Yes, we're actually in the process of looking to go work with some overseas designers. I've actually been given the opportunity to go and train with outstanding fashion designer in the Caribbean. She's offered to train me in how to make patterns and do how to fit garments onto mannequins and stuff like that. So I'm really looking forward to that opportunity, and it can really help my company because the type of work that she does is a lot of couture, which we're into, and we're not up to scratch as yet, but hopefully after this experience I'll be able to, you know, boast that we are at the level that we need to be at.
Any considerations to franchising? Could we see a La Rosa operation in another country? Or
I am not sure.
Baby
We're
steps.
hoping. Yes, we're taking baby steps right now.
I'm actually going to pick your brain just in case there's someone who was in your position working for someone and wants to branch out on their own. The thinking behind it is a combination of being in the right place at the right time, BIM Ventures helping you out, accessing the infrastructure. Then it was your own will, it was your own desire to do whatever else, and then you have the eye towards the niche market, which appears to be a good idea these days. Quality in small doses. If you could walk someone through the best way of going through this, taking into consideration the things you didn't do right and the things that you did do right, what would you tell them?
Well, firstly, you need the training. I actually was trained at Barbados Community College. I didn't do the associate's degree, I just did the certificate course. But then I actually went into working in a factory. So most of my experience was actually hands-on experience, because I moved from sewing into the cutting room, and then I became the cutting room supervisor. So from there I became the cutting room manager. And then the company was sold to my former boss, and from there she made me the factory manager. So then from there the only other step was up, because I wasn't looking to go back down. So I decided then, okay, let me buy this business. I mean, it wasn't easy, because sometimes the day-to-day runnings of a factory is challenging. But with God's help, and I must give kudos to BIM Ventures once again. When they bought over the factory from me, they didn't just give me the running of the factory and leave me there. They actually assigned to me a shepherd, someone who actually is like a business mentor. So anytime I have any problems or any challenges or any questions, I refer to my my mentor, Mr. Gregory Hinkson. And I also must give kudos to my husband, who has been very helpful and very encouraging. He actually works for the Youth Entrepreneurship Scheme, so he helped to turn me also into an entrepreneur.
Very nice.
Hero sandwich.
Yes to that.
Well, we found that a number of things come out from Ms. Mosley's story, but there's something about being in a business or in like manufacturing and then looking and seeing that there's an avenue you can get into. We might call it innovate a little bit. How important is that to look around the landscape and, you know, try to make things different? She's going into doing something that was not available for smaller businesses. How important is that?
What you're talking about is the possibility of the opportunity to expand your sales or build additional market share. Basically what you can do is you can consider doing things like market research. I mean, a lot of people travel all the time, you know, see what is out there, see how you can add value to your existing product line as well. From the market research, you can identify new opportunities in new areas, new countries, new jurisdictions. This, I would suggest that you don't do it alone. You can use a consultant to help you to go through some of the numbers in terms of processing some of the data that you collect, some of the information that you collect, and then based on that, then you can make a more informed decision as to where's the best place that you can take your particular product or where you can take your particular service, so that you don't make the mistakes that other people might have made and just moved on gut feeling.
And from your own research, do you think a lot of manufacturers in the Caribbean and Barbados are employing these avenues, doing these things?
I believe that a lot of persons are taking the right steps. Okay, in the past, maybe they might have gone a little bit more with gut feeling, but a lot of people are now being exposed to the information that's out there. Persons are using the internet to source as much information as possible on the various markets. Right. I think one of the biggest challenges that are actually popping up is actually getting the relevant information required to make the trade possible. So information on documentation, information on things like culture, maybe using both languages on your packaging, having the right standards in terms of the amount of fat in your products, the amount of sugars, and so on and so forth. So that's where the shortcoming is.
All right, we're having a discussion with Dr. Paul Pounder, Lecturer, Department of Management Studies at UWI, and budding entrepreneur Roseanne Mosley, who's recently opened a garment factory. It's called La Rosa Couture, and we will continue our discussion with them following our news and sports. Here's our nice tip for today. Interacting with disabled customers, each customer is different but should be treated the same. For customers with hearing impairments, use simple words and short sentences. Remember to enunciate clearly. That's our nice tip for today. Each customer is different but should be treated the same.